My story is one of many thousands, and the world will not suffer if it ends too soon.
Ubisoft is that ex whom you love for some of the greatest memories of your life, but also hate for the recent disasters that led to the horrible breakup that ruined your life.
You have ruined my life! You have ruined my life!
Ubisoft gave us some of the greatest games of all time. Assassin's Creed 2, Far Cry 3 and Splinter Cell Chaos Theory are part of those games that made me a gamer and made me fall in love with this medium. I always felt that Ubisoft is a company that produced games that were way ahead of their times.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Just look at the details they had in Far Cry 2 in 2008 or the parkour animations in the first Assassin's Creed game in 2007. Those were revolutionary and way too impressive. So what changed in modern days? Why suddenly everyone hates Ubisoft? What are they doing wrong? The biggest complaint about their games nowadays is that they make the same game again and again and again.
It's not the same thing. It is the same thing.
But why do they do that? What is their deal? Let's find out. If you check any modern Ubisoft games, you'll find some similarities. For example, let's talk about 3 different games from 3 different game series. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6 and The Division 2. 3 completely different games. Far Cry 6 is a modern-day first-person shooting game. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a third-person action-adventure game based on 9th century England, and Division 2 is a third-person shooter game set in a near-future Washington DC where genetically engineered virus known as Green Poison being released. 3 completely different games, right? But guess what? All 3 feel exactly the same. Why is that? Because all of them are Ubisoft-style open-world games.
They're all the same.
They are not all the same.
Ubisoft has cracked the open-world formula. Ubisoft open worlds are gorgeous. There isn't a single bad-looking game that they released in recent years. Far Cry 4, 5, Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, Immortals Phoenix Rising, just look at these games. These games have some of the most impressive looking environments. It feels so good to just look at their worlds. They know exactly what the general people want. Ubisoft's games have many problems, but those games have some great qualities too. I played so many Ubisoft games on their release day and not one of them was badly optimized. Is there any other big company nowadays except Rockstar and Ubisoft who release their game in perfect condition on day 1? Even Rockstar did a huge blunder, the GTA The Definitive Edition. Each 3 of the games was badly optimized. People were releasing guides to optimize the games manually to get a stable FPS at a playable state. So yeah, most big companies like 3D Projekt Red, Warner Bros. Games and Square Enix released horrible optimized games such as Cyberpunk 2077, Gotham Knights and Marvel's Avengers. This is what everyone does nowadays. They release the games as early as they can to get the ultimate profit, and after everyone complains, then they start to work on the issues.
But it's too late.
This has become a trend nowadays. There are very few games that are released now that are optimized in a proper playable state. Ubisoft games are one of those. Ubisoft really knows how to sell their product. They heavily optimize their game for even low-range PC and for an old-gen console too. Their games never feel junky on day 1, so what is the problem? The problem is all of their games feel exactly the same, as I'm saying. It feels like I'm playing the same game in different skins. Why would a game that is based on Vikings and a game based on modern guerrilla warfare feel exactly the same? Isn't something wrong with that? Far Cry 6 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla's open world have exactly the same design. Both games have defined combat, world building and storyline, but both of their open worlds are exactly the same. Both of these games have large worlds where you have infinite items to find and infinite things to do. At the same time, most of the things that you do are exactly the same. Both of the games have exactly similar types of mission design, NPC interactions and treasure hunts. Even the world design is very similar. It is like they made the same game twice but in different skins. If 2 games from different game series have this level of similarity, just guess how much similarity will be in the games which are from the same series. And it is horrifying. Just look at the Far Cry series. They made a game called Far Cry 3 in 2012 which was a huge success and everybody loved the game. What did they do after that? They made another 5 Far Cry 3s in the next 11 years. Far Cry 4, 5, 6, Primal and New Dawn has exactly the same game design, narrative structure and combat mechanism as Far Cry 3. Obviously each game has some different mechanisms, but those are very negligible. You cannot release a new game with those differences. With these little differences, you can release a DLC with a price point of $10–15.
That's not gonna make you any money. Okay.
Even though CD Projekt Red has turned into an evil corporation nowadays, when they were good they released two of the greatest DLCs of all time called Hearts of Stone and Blood Wine. If they are like Ubisoft, they would definitely release those as Witcher 4 and Witcher 5. Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla have no significant differences in gameplay. Before that, Syndicate and Unity were exactly the same except Syndicate had a grapple hook. Rogue and Black Flag were quite similar. Can you notice a pattern here? Ubisoft does this again and again and again. First they try to create a formula for a new game. If that formula works, they continue to make games based on that formula until gamers riot and hate the last product. Then they move on to the next formula and they do the exact same with the new formula. They did that with the Far Cry series. When every single one hated Far Cry 6, they were considering making something new in Far Cry 7. They did the same thing with Assassin's Creed series. When every single person hated Valhalla, they focused on the old school Assassin's Creed game Mirage. But my question is, why do they make the same game over and over and get away with that? If everyone hated games like Valhalla and Far Cry 6, why does Ubisoft make games like that? The answer is very much simple. They make this kind of games because people buy those games a lot. I do not know one single reputed game critic that praised Valhalla. Every single gaming community that I am part of hates Valhalla. But guess what? AC Valhalla sold more than 20 million copies and they have earned more than $1 billion from this game. And tell me now, why wouldn't Ubisoft would make games like this? They are earning way too much money so they can easily ignore the criticism. People complain a lot about these games, but when these games release, they buy those with heavy enthusiasm. The fact that AC Valhalla sold more than 20 million copies means the majority of the gamers bought this game. If the majority of gamers buy a game, that game is successful. Tell me one reason why the game company should not pursue the formula that works so successfully in a business perspective. If people stop buying the same old repetitive games, companies will stop making them. Nobody wants to make a game that nobody wants to buy. This is as simple as that. That's it for today guys. Share with us your thoughts on Ubisoft and your most favorite Ubisoft release so far. If you like this video, please dump a like here and subscribe to our channel for more gaming related content like this. Until next time, ta-da.